me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What you gonna eat no money, what you at you, eat no at you. Covid money, me say we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth, them money, waste my must have statue. Say me like a cashew, but they got in a figure you. Take this print of money, God and say that is not you. On the head, the man above him, him a got up. Too much eat in the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me,
300% free.
it burn me,
Garbage pile of the day.
it burn me,
Give the teacher them
it
raise.
burn me,
I see corruption please.
it burn me,
Mash down the people them house.
it burn me,
Every day appear arms out.
it burn me,
Appear money them a thief.
it burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
Come me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The 100 the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, they rap and they down in a whatever. Member bowl only and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them smell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start that thief when them sell.
It burn me,
Or they treat the market man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat the cat man.
it burn me,
Or they treat the peanut man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat the dirt man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat the sound man.
it burn me,
Or them a treat policeman.
it burn me,
How them a treat soldier man.
it burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't.
Yeah, well, it is I, Bad Bass Alice, representing on behalf of Dancehall. It is the station of all time, Global TV, Brothers of all time, Alice in a rep, yeah, General of all time. Master with me say, yeah, but the people them love you bad. Fully informative, salute, like they have to live.
The salary not attractive. We broke and we want the money. These are some of the sentiments coming from the protest on the ground from university lecturers. We broke. We want the money. The salary not attractive. Them salary are run we will go foreign to go look a better life. The salary don't attractive. Come with a better argument. Come back to the negotiation table and come back with a better argument. But not only a better argument, with a more attractive salary. So we can stay here and continue to develop our education system. But is that what our politicians require or want for our country? To make sure the well-trained and experienced remain in our education system so that the progress, the more higher class result that the Prime Minister is asking for, then maybe if we pay our best and brightest to stay at home, to continue to develop our education system, we might just get somewhere. Good evening and welcome to your Drive Time London Lunchtime Global program. If you are on the Eastern timeline, good afternoon. It is your lunchtime. If you are in the United Kingdom, particularly London, good evening. It is drive time. Are you home yet? Are you on your way home? or in a 24-hour economy? Are you on your way to work? What is your position? But as always, there are few issues that we need to highlight. Bobby Pickersgill near death. Not Bobby Pickersgill, sorry. Is it Bobby Pickersgill? Yes. Bobby Pickersgill near death led him to want to go on a campaign to say this service to the Jamaican people is not enough. Our national health care is in dire strait. But if you listen to the response from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Health, you would have them believe the latest stinging criticism from the United States. In their latest advisory, their latest travel advisory, a stinging but truthful criticism on the Jamaican healthcare system. How do you compare and contrast their pushback, what the US had said, what the US advisor had said, and Bobby Pickersgill experience? I want to say good evening to those on TikTok, good evening to those on the Twitch, good evening to those on X, on Facebook, on YouTube. Good evening and welcome to your London Drive Time, Lunchtime Global. Good evening to Beat and Teach. Good evening, Natalia Freeman. Beulah, good evening to Prof. Gorgeous Lady. Debbie Jervis, good evening and welcome. Patricia Matthews, good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome to who else is here. Veteran, big up, veteran. You're here, big up. Dorothy Elliott, good evening and welcome. Kate M, good evening and welcome. Sunshine, good evening. Good evening, Sharon Powell. Good evening and welcome, Monica Willis. Good evening to my sister, Faith Forbes. How are you doing and how are you enjoying your time? How is the weather? How is the food? Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Who else is here? I haven't called out yet. Michelle Clark, good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome. Amazing Grace, good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome to you all. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Monica Willis, Jamaican Foodie, good evening and welcome. Happy to have you all here. Thank you all for joining. Abina, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Faith is saying, my father is listening. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Star. Star, good evening. Good evening to you. How is everything? Good evening, Lilith Foster. Good evening and welcome to this another your program. Faith is saying the weather is good. Faith is at home. The weather is good. Well, there is a lot happening. But Bobby Montague had a near-death experience in our healthcare system. Our national healthcare couldn't save the day. Neither if you listen to him carefully. It wasn't the private sector healthcare that saved the day. It was more to do with money and contacts that saved the day. It first started with a misdiagnosis. We can almost argue malpractice or negligence. It was, Lambert Brown. Oh, sorry, Lambert Brown. Sorry, not Bobby Pickersgill. Sorry, thanks for the correction, Beat and Teach. Lambert Brown. I may have the picture somewhere in my queue. Sorry, Lambert Brown. His near-death experience led him to call for a revolutionary shake-up in our healthcare. But it's not the service we provide that saved him. It's not really the service that was provided in the private health care that saved him, but more to do with contacts and money. There is a massive bed crisis in our country, right across our healthcare system. There is a massive bed crisis in our country. Not only a massive bed crisis in our country, but there's a massive crisis of specialty services in our healthcare. But I'll give you an experience that our family have with our father in the healthcare, the government side of this thing and the private side of things. For almost 2 years, between Black River Hospital and Mandeville Hospital, they would suck our packet dry, not even giving us a proper diagnosis. Just keep giving us, go here and do this test, go here and do this test, come back this date, come back that date. And for almost 2 years, they were sucking us dry. The minute we said we want to go private with our father's surgery, we got a diagnosis and a surgery date within about 2 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, Faith. We got a diagnosis and a surgery date within about 2 weeks. And we have to pay over $500,000 to do the surgery. But we got a date. The minute we decided to go private, we got a date within no time. If we were to wait on the Ministry of Health timing, we probably wouldn't have had a date by now. We would still be waiting for them to give us a date, and we would still, between Black River Hospital, Mandeville Hospital, we would still be going back and forth, just doing tests, going for appointment. The doctor is not there. You have to go back at another date. And that continuous spiral that drains people's pocket. Bobby Montague had the contacts. No, I beg your pardon. The name is on screen. Lambert Brown have the contacts and the money that saved his life. How much of us Jamaicans, how much of us buckle under the pressure? How much of us buckle under the pressure? How much of us buckle under the pressure of not being able to fund these very expensive. Noreen Dennison, good evening and welcome. Not being able to fund these expensive surgery or expensive medical treatment, have no contacts to make them even dress up somebody else, push somebody else over here and prepare a bed for you. And Dr. Tufton would want to have you believe that if the US, they shouldn't be asked to do more. So therefore, what needs to happen if the US wants its citizens to be treated better in Jamaica? Not realizing that the US is saying they don't treat their own people well. The standard that their health care that they offer to their people is substandard to what we offer to you. Dr. Tufton is rather saying, all right then, if your people them want better health care when them come here, we attach a travel insurance. No, Dr. Tufton, you got it wrong. The US is saying you are giving substandard health care. Substandard health care to your people at home, Dr. Tufton. And with the amount, the billions we're learning that's been swindled and embezzled or misappropriated from Department of Health, a Cornwall original, a white elephant which has been sucking the public purse to no ends, with no operational end date in sight. And they would want to tell us that I lie the US I tell. But this is the experience we have right across the country. This is the experience we have right across the country, where we get shoddy, dilapidated health care. We get hospitals without any beds. We have hospitals where people are sleeping on hospital in cardboard. We have hospitals where people are sleeping on bench and chairs for days. We have hospital where people have to use plastic chairs, backyard garden chairs, and attach wheel to them and make them into wheelchair to use in our hospitals. And Dr. Tufton would want to have you believe the US is talking nonsense because we have done enough. The solution shouldn't be that we should be asked to do more. So why are there more money being stolen than Dr. Tufton from Department of Health? Why is billions unaccountable for in the Department of Health? Billions is unaccountable for in the Department of Health. And Dr. Tufton would want you to have you believe the US is talking rubbish. Will Dr. Tufton use his policing skills? It's not like you haven't got it. We've seen you deployed it before. You use it when fighting against drug trafficking. Use your policing skill, Dr. Tufton, in the Department of Health to investigate, Dr. Tufton, where have those billions gone missing? Find out from your permanent secretary, Dr. Tufton, why you haven't submitted accountability of expenses to me for 8 years. Or let us ask you, Dr. Tufton, why have you not sought accountability from your financial officers and permanent secretary of how the expenditures of your department, accountability for the expenditures of your department, Dr. Tufton? Why was that not one of your priorities? Where you know, Dr. Tufton, it is your duty. It is your duty to explain to us and be accountable to us for the spending in the Department of Health. But for 8 years, 7, 8 years, you have not even asked your permanent secretary. You haven't even asked your permanent secretary to submit the financial records of the department. If the Prime Minister, Department of Education, and Department of Health has nothing to hide, allow the Auditor General access to all the information and financial records from your department. If you have nothing to hide, why are you using gag orders? Why are you pushing back? Why are you drawing your feet if there's nothing to hide? Martha Blessings, good evening and welcome. Is Lambert Brown saying, even though he lived to tell the tales, is Lambert Brown really saying to us that of all his years and life in Jamaica, he is only finding out? Lambert Brown is only finding out what all of us go through on a daily basis. Lambert Brown is only just finding out how much of us die at these hospitals waiting to be seen. Lambert Brown is just finding out how much of us relatives die at these hospitals waiting to be seen, die with doctors and nurses walking around on their phones. Lambert Brown is only waking up to that. Welcome to reality, Lambert Brown. You have just entered into reality, because this is our reality. It is our daily life in the National Health Service. Will Jamaicans ask and demand Christopher Tufton for some accountability on the money spent in the Department of Health, but more so, an urgent accountability and clarification as to the exact status of Cornwall Regional Hospital. How much more money we will have to spend to get Cornwall Regional at a final operational level. How much money have we already spent on Cornwall Regional Hospital, the current state of Cornwall Regional Hospital, and when Cornwall Regional Hospital will be at a final operational level? Jamaicans need to demand that. Jamaica needs to demand that from their politicians. In our executive arm of government, some of your most important limb of the executive is your Ministry of Health. You need a healthy nation. Ministry of Education. You need an educated populace in order to aid development, diversity in knowledge. People will be able to be out there creating a lot of things, building companies, developing the economy. You need a strong security force in order to keep law and order so that your economy can be attractive to international investors, backed up by the progress with economy at home on the ground. This is what makes a lot of economy thrive. Is it a wonder that these three powerful limb of the executive, Rena, good day and welcome. Is it surprising that these three powerful arms of the executive is being deliberately destroyed by our very own politicians we chose to look after our affairs? Why are they centered? Why are they centered on tourism, but have no interest, in developing our country? Dr. Tufton has embezzled billions from Ministry of Health. And to date, we won't be able to get an accountability from them. many millions wasted on Cornwall Regional Hospital, and we can't get it up to operation, and we still is going to waste more money. The nation coming up this election, these are the important questions you need to ask your politicians. The lecturers at UTEC, the academic staff at UTEC, they're staging a silent protest because as we are fully aware that there's a struggle with public sector workers in getting the government, Dr. Shark, Nigel Clark, to negotiate with them and to give them a livable salary. Given that, our politicians gave themselves a maximum of 300% rise last year, some of which will take effect this year, this April. 300% pay rise, 200% pay rise, 150% pay rise, but is unable to negotiate with public sector workers, who without public sector workers, government cannot function. Those in parliament, who it's just a talking shop and a bunch of scammers, without the civil service, the operational team on the ground, government cannot operate. But they're unwilling to even negotiate with them, give them a livable. Good evening, Carlos Gray. Good evening and welcome at Jamaican Carlos TV. Not being able to even negotiate with them, give them livable salary. The people who keep government functioning, or healthcare, or policing, or teachers, or people in the National Water Commission, in the National Housing Trust, and all these, the tax administration, and all these areas, or public or state university lecturers, unable to negotiate, not unable, unwilling. It's not an unableness here. It is an unwillingness, to the point where senior lecturers and all are coming out to say, we're broke, we want more money. Dr. Gittin is saying, Dr. O.J. Gittin is saying, these salaries are not attractive. The government needs to come to the table. Nigel Clark needs to come to the table with attractive salary offer. In my interpretation, Dr. Gittin is saying, them your salary won't argue it. It just a tell we say, go on abroad, go look a better life. This year run left Jamaica, go abroad. Go look a better life. Salary they're offering. Because what they're offering to us, it is not attractive. What we already have, we cannot survive on it. It's not a livable salary. It's not a livable salary. We cannot survive on it. And what they're offering, it's not attractive. Is it a wonder they're planning to bring robots with them and their friends who own foundation to start teaching our children? The Prime Minister have until the 7th, constitutionally, the Prime Minister have until the 7th of February to announce local elections. The questions Jamaicans should be asking your local government representative, the questions you should be asking is about your health care, about your security, about your education, about the amenities in your localities. Do not just go on the campaign. Jump around, enjoy the day, blow guguzela, make a lot of noise, but isn't interested in what is being said on the political campaign, whether they're telling lies or the truth. Make this election different from others. The questions must be put to your leaders. Answers must be asked of them. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with our healthcare? How are you going to restore? How are you going to restore our education system? How are you going to retain our teachers who are leaving? Because even though it's local government election, Beaton teachers saying local government election will be called on Thursday. And I know when Beaton teaches certain things, it goes up. When Beaton teach, tell you about them things, yeah, don't go, don't come. I need to talk to, I will deal with this later. Parkins, good evening and welcome. Good evening. So once Andrew called the election, we in a full swing because we are here to make sure we expose the lies and the propaganda. We question the lies. We question the narrative. We point out the little never want to do long time things them where them ready to do now because of election time. But while no, me I got it on my own right, veteran. Leave me alone. Me I got it on my own right. Murder Colin Humphreys, good evening and welcome. Veteran, you chip me out. No, but they ever go to that one, you know. While Chris Tufton want to argue with the US about the shining healthcare that they want us to believe that we have, Ed Bartlett, the criminal who should be criminally charged for poor people's stuff, poor people's livelihood with Ed Bartlett, and him police friend them go mash up. Lying Delano Steve Wright, corrupt lying Delano Steve Wright, where him send out come tell the lying narrative that we have to intervene because there was a lot of criminality going on in the area. And we have to remove him to protect Massa picnic them and Massa pending generation. So therefore, Ed Bartlett that Spain is making sure, telling, and the symbol behind them, look, symbol of oppression. Ed Bartlett isn't Spain telling them, remember, there are very strong, muscular people on the plantation. People on the plantation are still enduring. So come invest more, $700 million to invest during 2024. They will invest or they will seek all sorts of international partners and investment when it comes to tourism. Because they're here to look at the Massa and Massa children. But nothing to do, no international investment and partnership when it comes to our healthcare or education and law enforcement. Ask your government, your local government representative, to send a message back to central government. What is your plan for healthcare, education, and our national security? Perspective Power, good evening and welcome. So meanwhile, them are destroy we at home. They're making sure they're maintaining the industrious slave economy. While they are destroying our public services at home. They are making sure they shore up support. They shore up support for the enslavement economy. Because we must always be walking around, sweeping up and cleaning up behind Master. We must always be spreading bed for Master. We must always be cooking food for Master. We must always be serving Master at the bar. We must always be serving Master at the dining table. This is all they're coaching us to do. Nothing about the science and the mathematics. It's all about making sure that the services of Master Playground. Ton of Flavor, good evening. Good evening and welcome. Thank you very much, Ton of Flavor. They always make sure that the services offered to Master and Master descendants is well fine-tuned and well looked after. But so the rest of Jamaica. They don't need good roads. They don't need good health care. The only investment we need in our country is with the tourism partnership. We must look after Master and his children. This is what they continue to train us to do, while they continue to destroy our education, our health care. And rather than fighting crime, Dr. Horace Chang, the criminal, is arming garrison constituencies in Jamaica by delivering AK-47 guns across our country. Our Minister of National Security. And they would have you believe over 50 people, about 50 or so people have been murdered since the start of this year. But the government would want to ram his big spoon down your throat to say crime is going down. Horace Chang told us it's because we're crazy why we're committing crime. We're hearing voices, the Minister of National Security said. The Minister of National Security said it's because we're hearing voices. That's why we're committing crime. Welcome to the club, Doctor, because you have always been at it. You have always been extracting bullet from your criminal elements in Western Jamaica. The same criminal elements, Dr. Horace Chang, that you have armed with AK-47s, not only in Flanker, Montego Bay, but other garrison communities across our country. That same doctor is telling us, that criminal doctor who armed our country with AK-47 is telling us the reason why, the reason why we resort to violence, Dr. Chang said. The reason why we resort to violence, Dr. Chang said, is because we're hearing voices.
And where the blood clot this? And where the blood clot this?
It's because we're hearing voices why we resort to violence. The same Dr. Horace Chang that armed our country with AK-47, the same Dr. Horace Chang that the United States have intelligence on, the same Dr. Horace Chang that WikiLeaks published his criminal connection on. It's the same Dr. Horace Chang is saying we are committing the crime because we're mad, we're hearing voices, we adapt a schizophrenic attitude when we have interpersonal problems. Leaving aside, Verona Shaw, good evening and welcome. Leaving aside Dr. Horace Chang activities in criminality and his arming of garrison constituencies of high weapon guns. But Dr. Chang would want to have you believe it's only happening because they're hearing voices. And nobody in academic Jamaica or political Jamaica or journalism Jamaica is calling for Dr. Chang to withdraw that statement or provide a research paper to show that I have looked at the pattern over a particular period of time, Dr. Chang, which led me to believe that the reason why the crime situation in our country is deepening is because our people are hearing voices. They're cuckoo, they're doolally, is what Dr. Chang is saying. And everybody shut up because maybe everybody accepts that we're mad. If somebody who's always fast asleep, if somebody who's always fast asleep Beulah, I saw that somewhere, but not yet from an official news source. But when I do have that, I will speak about that. Fast asleep. A man that is fast asleep has woken up to tell the nation your crime situation is because you're hearing voices. While the Minister of Tourism, after destroying Jamaicans' livelihood, is abroad in Europe looking for investors to come and enslave us. This is the situation that we have find ourselves in as a people. But I think this is the final thing I will look at for the season. Because, you know, we're coming back tonight on the People's Point of View at 11 p.m. UK time, 6 a.m., 6 p.m. Jamaica time, Eastern time, the North American timeline. Another local government something just fall out of the bag. Musgrave Market get on the way. Construction of Musgrave Market get on the way. This is after a long delay for this market. For this market to get started. But because the bad man them, the bad man politician them will own Portland, the bad family will take over one whole parish for themselves. One whole parish. Darrell Vaz. It wasn't enough. But why we not some? That's why Horace Chang said we're mad, you know. But if we go to Parliament Gate and go roll and tear out we here and ball for murder, Arlene Foster, good evening and welcome. If we go to Parliament Gate, go roll and ball and tear out we here and ball for murder, and then Dr. Chang could stand up right out there and do him research and publish it right out there. Because we need to actually start getting mad. Like literally good mad. We not talk about play mad. We not talk about get good mad. Because without getting good mad in our country like Jamaica, there's not much we're going to achieve.
I'm grateful. Lion! Draw out everything and show the world.
Give me a chance, please. For those of you on TikTok, my battery on the iPod is going very low. So if you see it goes doolally, you know it has gone dead. But I'm winding down. So Darrell Vaz and his wife will control Portland, but this is on the wife's side. This market where them are lagarasan for quite a long time now. All of a sudden, local government election have come, so construction kick into swing. Your local markets is under your local government responsibility. Darrell Vaz is making sure to shore up vote across his wife's constituency. You have to start walk with the heavy crocus bag on your shoulder and pinch this up. Just like how I see them issue the fertilizer. The issuing of the fertilizer came from the pattern of how Dr. Harris Chang issues AK-47 across our country. The drive-by night with a big container chock full of gun, and he load up one coaster bus here, so and load up one coaster bus here, so and then drive after them in different direction. Come sue me, Dr. Chang, because your police, your very own police, them have the intelligence on you. Come and sue me, Dr. Horace Chang. So this one is making sure that his wife votes are shored up, so them start fool the people with market construction. But people of East Portland, it's just a con to get your vote. Vote for a better Jamaica and not vote for a Tifa family. Your job is to vote for a better Jamaica and not for a Tifa family. But before I end this evening, I want to once more pay homage to my entire family and the loss of one of our permanent family member, Alric Alexander Stewart, commonly known as Mandu. To the entire family, my sympathies are with you all. My support are with you all. Thank you all very much for being here with us this evening on our DRIVETIME London Lunchtime Global program. We hope to see you back here this evening on our People's Point of View at 11 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Good evening and goodbye from on TikTok. Goodbye from X, from Twitch, from Facebook, on from YouTube. We will see you at our later broadcast. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for being here as usual. Good evening. And good evening to my sister and father. Good evening. See you later.